All right, another day, another giant short squeeze. I don't know how to, tell you guys to focus on big percent gainers any more than I already do. It blows my mind that so many people are asking me questions about stocks that are down on the day, unchanged stocks, stocks that are just boring. You have giant big percent winners. Even with the fade by the end of the day, VCIG was a huge percent winner. MULN, which I completely missed, was an even better percent winner. Both of these, the news was alerted by stocks to trade breaking news. I would not trade without stocks to trade breaking news. It is the height of all absurdity not to be informed. I got some people asking, why is MULN spiking? Why is VCIG spiking? You got to get in the game, guys. Okay? I'm not doing that great, but I had my first nearly $2,000 a day in quite a while. I've now finally wiped out my losses from that big loss a few months ago on EFTR when I did not use stocks to trade breaking news. If you ever want an example of why you should use it, my biggest loss could have been avoided if I just looked at the damn STT breaking news and saw that the company was doing a toxic financing. So I use it to make money. I don't use it when I lose money. Use it every single day. I will link to it. Also, we have a few early bird seats left. Don't blame me when the early bird seats are gone. Probably like in a week. I think there's like 8 or 9 left. At the rate that it's going, every time I mention it, we get like 1 or 2 people to listen. It blows my mind how many times I have to repeat this stuff. But, whatever I can do to help, it's crazy to me. Just don't blame me, if there's no more early bird seats when you look, when you finally watch the video lesson, or you actually click the link below. It's crazy to me. I still can't believe it. But then again, I should understand that I'm basically teaching degenerate gamblers discipline, and it's not like it's the easiest thing to do. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And then also I got to mention, the fact that it's not like this is like my gimme pattern that I've been teaching for years. This is opposite world where literally the worst of the worst becomes the best of the best because there's so many damn short sellers right now. And it's my own fault because my top students and I made millions shorting penny stocks. We introduced the idea. By the end of the day or the end of the week, these stocks do crash. So short sellers aren't wrong. But because there's so many new short sellers and they just short everything way too early, you're getting some giant squeezes. Like VCIG never deserved to be up this much. And it was pretty much the only stock I traded. Made 700, had a loss when it wasn't really bouncing, then had some nice gains end of the day. And some people are like, why are you dip buying this end of the day? You always say dip buy near the morning panics. Correct. As you see, it did actually fade into the close without very many bounces. But again, with opposite time, I'm trying all different angles. Normally, I would never buy this kind of a stock that I didn't even believe in the first place at the end of the day. So I'm trying to go opposite, and it's not easy. So I get it if you're confused, but welcome to trading. It's not an exact science. Sometimes you have to go opposite. With relatively small positions, by the way. I'm not pounding the table oh my God, this is amazing. I hugely underestimated the initial spike, but if that ever happens to you, near the market open, if you ever underestimate, focus on that stock again, because it means you're on the right track. And I was buying it in the 5s, selling it in the 6s, very similar to my DRUG trade and, a lot of these short squeeze stocks the past few days, making $1 a share. And again, DRUG, it actually spiked another $3 a share. DRUG spiked another $2 a share for my entry. VCIG spiked another, $3. Actually, $1.50 after I sold it. It didn't really have the best spike midday, which again, you hear me say when do you avoid trading? Midday. And I went for my midday walk because I didn't want to overtrade. I had a nice morning on this and I missed this. I turned my, reception off because I didn't want to be distracted. And actually, this was the best time to buy it. So I still need to work on my own trading. It's difficult to buy opposite, but we're in this opposite market and you just have to accept it and you have to try to capitalize. MULN, by the way, like VCIG did a deal with Microsoft, but Microsoft isn't quoted. I think they're probably just using Microsoft's OpenAI. I don't even think that they say that it's a partnership, but it's like me going to a FedEx store and saying I'm a partner of FedEx. So I think that's probably the VCIG. MULN, the CEO released a shareholder letter basically just saying like, here's all the stuff that we've been talking about. Why does no one care? I think it's the short sellers. And it's like the most gibberish CEO letter, which is, typical of a company like this with, a long-term downtrend where the CEO and the management is they're just incompetent. The price action says it. But again, because it's opposite world, MULN, giant squeeze. I saw a bunch of short sellers getting angry thinking that, why did it go from 40 to 60 cents? And they were shorting this 50% spike, and they helped create the squeeze. VCIG, I saw several people shorting this right in here. Where was it? Shorting in here in the 5, thinking that it was just going to fade all day. And this is the thing. Like, some people say, how do you know which are going to be the giant short squeezes versus which ones fade all day? You don't know. And even the giant short squeezes still tend to fade by the end of the day. I don't care what it finishes at. I'm interested in this range, in this upside. Leave a comment underneath this video if I'm making sense and say, I like range. When a stock has $5 a share of range, even if you sell too soon, even if you miss some of it, there's still so much upside potential. And there was, $3 a share of downside potential if you are a short seller. So don't misunderstand me in thinking that like all short selling is bad. When they get them, in these kinds of like death throes, like where it just can't bounce whatsoever, short selling isn't that bad. But, you never know when it's going to fade like this perfectly versus when it's going to fade like this and lead to a squeeze, when it's going to fade like this and lead to a squeeze. It actually surprised me a little bit that it didn't squeeze into the close. But, very similar price action to SIDU the previous day, which was, my morning spiker, and I underestimated it. But same kind of thing. Over-aggressive short sellers allowed it to become a big squeezer, and then the shorts got control and, the thing, faded. So this is really difficult for me to teach because I say don't short sell as a newbie, but then, the stock drops 50% off its highs. So short sellers will say, Tim, shut up. It dropped 50%. Congrats if you're a short seller. I just know that newbies can't time things very well, if at all. So even though it does fade, I saw a lot of people shorting this too soon. Same thing with VCIG, same thing with MULN. So you do get the squeezes, and I understand the plight of short sellers. I used to be a short seller. I understand them going crazy in their little Discord rooms being like, this stock doesn't deserve to be up. Then they're like angry at the markets when they should just be angry at themselves. In a perfect world, you recognize that it can spike quickly, as I really kind of went crazy in the chat room, pounding my fist saying, look how much it can spike. And then if there's 2, 3, 4, big intraday squeezes, then maybe you consider it that it's a good short. If you truly want to short, I still don't think it's good risk reward because I think it can still come back later in the day, but I do see the appeal of it. I just like going long, and I think that's a good way for most newbies to be. But either way, leave a comment underneath this. Say, I like the range. VCIG, junk news. MULN, junk news. It's opposite world. I'm doing pretty well, Like, this doesn't look very good. You're like, oh, God, Tim, you've been doing this for 2 decades, and you're a multimillionaire, and you can't even make, like, a part-time Starbucks barista's salary. Understand, I also had the $27,000 loss. I've been trading small ever since. I probably would be on track for 100K, which, is not my best year, but it's also not my worst year. Some years just aren't that great for, earning. And that's this year. And I've been saying it all year, but I think there's lots of lessons. And aside from just year to date, which shows my major screw up, ever since I've been trading small, very meticulous, trading a lot of short squeezes, 12K in the past month. I always say don't try to focus on monetary goals, but it's only human nature. Like, you want to do well. It's good to look at your money. It's good to see and try to see where you can do better. But, 12K a month, that's pretty good in this market. and I'm trading super small, and I'm underestimating plays left and right, and I'm trading low stress without short selling. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pumped that there's a lot of spikers. Just look at stocks to trade breaking news, get that news early. Even if you don't buy the news right away, you got to get these news plays on your radar. And I saw, and I even said this pre-market on VCIG, I was like, I'm watching this. I'm not going to be aggressive. It had already spiked pre-market. The question was, could it break out? By the way, I got my first trade right in here. So it spiked up. And frankly, where was it? God, I wish there's too much range here. You can't even really tell. It was right here. It had spiked up to basically, 590 and it came down. And I missed the first one because it was too fast. Some people were asking like, how do you buy this? When do you buy this? I was looking for the dip buy, but frankly, I missed this first bounce from 530 up to 590, and then it was halted, which if you ever miss a play, if it spikes too quickly, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to chase it. And then it came down. Like, it's kind of good. Like, had I bought this and had been in this halt, I probably would have been out for scratch or break even or small gain or small loss when that first candle failed. And it actually went all the way, it got halted at 590, went all the way down to 530. And I know some people, like that's a lot of range, that's a 10% drop. It's tough trading near the market open. So I wasn't like, oh my God, I need to buy it right away. I was looking to dip buy it, but at the same time, I don't want to just, buy anything. Like when you have these trading halts and when you have like 10% moves within a few seconds, it's really tough. And I was just trying to buy 1,000 shares, but still, you could lose like $500 like that. So it's scary. It came down to 530, and notice my entry here. I think it's worth noting. I waited to see if it could bottom. I don't want to try to catch a falling knife. And it had already started bouncing before I bought. So it had bottomed at 530, and I thought, okay, let me buy it at 560. And the goal was that it could retouch 590. So if you ever dip by like a morning spiker or any big spiker, for me, I like to, either try to catch the bottom if it's like a multi-day spiker and, I'm trying to go for maximum panic. But on this one, it's really dangerous to try to catch a falling knife. So I wanted to see a little bounce first. And to see that it could bounce. Sometimes these things drop, let's say from 590 down to 530, and then it tries to bounce and there's like a wall of sellers at 535, 540, and it really is tough to get that back up. But this one wasn't. I mean, it was just going everywhere. And I was fortunate just to get 1,000 shares, again, kind of mid-range. And this is what's confusing. Some people say, Tim, you bought this mid-range. The high was 590. It was down to 530. You bought it at 560. What gives? You always say, ignore mid-range. Well, this is mid-range in terms of seconds, first of all. I wanted to see that it could spike, check. I wanted to see that it could bounce off the bottom, check. And then I didn't want to buy it again at 590 because what if it double tops? What if I buy into a brick wall of sellers? As it turned out, it got halted again. Like, this is the problem with these fast moving stocks. And by the time I even got the alert, I don't know if you got the alert before the halt, it was so quick. It's literally within seconds. This is why I highlighted it in chat pre-market. Get in the chat room. It's not just about trade alerts. It's also the commentary. But it, within a few seconds, it basically went from, 530 and then it got halted here at 630. And yeah, at that point, like, it's near best case scenario. I don't mind that I sold it too soon. Making nearly $1 a share. This is really good for me on a fast moving stock. And then again, I underestimated it. And when I underestimated it, that made me want to trade it again and again and again because I was on the right track. But then again, I missed the best play, which is usually the worst time for trading. So I don't know how to explain it any better, but it's just like opposite day and it's opposite zone. So these one-day runners can become the biggest morning spikers. You have to accept that. At the same time, don't get too comfortable. Don't say, oh, it's opposite time, so let me just hold and hodl and, it'll keep spiking. Learn from SIDU, which also had that big spike and then it dropped 50%. DRUG, I did that video lesson. Sorry, I thought I posted this weekend. Sorry for the delay on that video. DRUG, $3 a share from the morning short squeeze, but after that, it's a good short. So don't think that these good shorts are good longs for very long. They're just good longs in the short term because of too many over aggressive shorts. I know it's confusing. I'm not, thrilled that it's a short squeeze pattern that's the best right now, but I take what the market gives me. I'll post a link below to Stocks and Trade Breaking News, which you should use every single day. And I'll post a link to the early bird special for Vegas. Try to come in person. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you guys. I'll see you in chat tomorrow. All right, so I just got back to see MULN. Actually had a nice little double bottom, and now a massive squeeze, actually green on the day. This thing was down 30%. It's now green on the day. I keep saying, look how many short sellers there are. They get squeezed, dip by, spikers, dip by any short squeeze stocks. I keep underestimating it, okay? Some of you are like, oh, Tim, you're like a math genius. You're so smart. Your millionaire students are so smart. Look at you guys. You made millions. Just look at this, just to help you understand. I have a busy day, so I have no regrets. I'm just coming back now to see this. But I made roughly $500 buying it in the mid-50s, selling it in the high 50s. It is now in the mid-80s, okay? Meanwhile, the NASDAQ has been absolutely pummeled. NVIDIA, which has had one of the best earnings reports ever, pummeled. And this little crappy company where the CEO put out a letter that basically said nothing, and he just said, we're going to go after short sellers because that's all he has left. It's the biggest winner, and it's the biggest spiker, and, this was the biggest spiker yesterday when Stocks and Trade Breaking News alerted it. I missed it yesterday. I thought that I took 1/3 of the potential profits. Now it looks like I took 1/30th of the potential profits today, okay? I just want you to understand how much freaking opportunity there is, and I need to pound it into your brains that this is what's happening because of short sellers. Some people think it's all a conspiracy theory. Some people are like, Tim, there's not that many short sellers. Yes, there are, okay? I talk to more traders, more brokers, more market makers than all of you put together. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to help you understand. I see what's happening in the markets. And trust me, I know that there are a lot of short sellers. Don't call me right now. I have no time for this shit, okay? I'm busy trying to teach. I'm trying to help you guys learn this stuff. It is so damn important that you recognize that short sellers are the new promoters. And short sellers are everywhere these days, okay? And you have to be on guard for them. Recognize that they are so completely wrong in their thesis, so completely wrong in their entire strategy and preparation. And it astounds me, absolutely astounds me how wrong they are. And it astounds me how, I'm talking about it and I'm still trading too conservatively. Look at this. This is all short squeeze action, okay? So whether you catch the dip on the first dip like I did, whether you catch the double bottom, whether you buy the breakout over this high here at 79, I mean, this is a nice 10% on just the intraday breakout. There's so much damn opportunity. What do I have to do to get through to you guys? I always tell people to retweet, so let's see who follows instructions. I get hardly anybody. It's like crickets. People are like, oh, OTCs are dead. Who cares about OTCs? Short sellers are spiking these stocks far more with far more volume than OTC promoters ever did. Sure, it's a little choppier. Sure, it's a little more difficult to understand because these are the worst of the worst companies. But this is why nearly every day I'm either trading it, I'm doing a watch list, I'm doing a video lesson. Every single day you have example after example after example after example of short squeezes. This stock does not deserve to be up. It never deserved to be up yesterday. It's up because so many short sellers are betting against this thing and getting absolutely wrecked, okay? And we need to be grateful for it, and we need to call it out. Look at this. It just keeps going. Even as I'm doing this, can it get to the 90s? I wouldn't chase it now, by the way. I like dip buys. Look at this, 90s. Look how it just eats through it. And you can see just based on the price action how fast it's going. That should give you a little indication. I can just imagine, I feel for the shorts saying the letter is meaningless, this is a scam, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? The worst of the worst is the best of the best. Leave that comment underneath this video. I'm going to include a whole bunch of videos. I'm sorry I haven't had time to post them, but at least you can see different stages of these short squeezes now. I got to get going. Enjoy the short squeezes. Remember to take profits along the way. Don't overstay. Remember, VCIG yesterday was a short squeeze and it completely failed. SIDU was a short squeeze the other day. It completely failed. MULN, every now and then you can get a short squeeze that doesn't fail because they just count on everything failing. This might turn into a multi-day run like, Yellow Corp or Tupperware did it. I just wouldn't chase it. I'll wait for a dip, but congrats to everyone with patience, whether you nailed it, whether you're learning. God bless these short sellers. They're creating these beautiful plays for us. Thank you.